Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. Yes, what a weekend of footy. We've had great football and some teams are on life support right now. We've got the Raiders, we got the Eels. The Knights have completely gone into the top 8 and look to be entrenched there. But can they make it? There's some injury concerns with Jackson Hastings and so much more. Let's get to this. Let's get to the Rugby League with your one-stop shop here at Barry Charles Footy Show. Let's get to it. Yes, the Raiders season is on life support. It's in tatters after an embarrassing 48 points to 2 loss to the Storm. And Ricky Stewart had no words to say. He was absolutely embarrassed. Yes. And would you believe, in the first 20 minutes, Raiders were in the lead with 2-point margin. And they went on to 48 unanswered points by the Storm, and it was all she wrote from there. Absolutely shocking display of football from the Raiders. And what does that say about Jared Croker? You're on your way out, son. We're not going to play any good for you. Apparently, he announced to his everyone that this is going to be his last season to his teammates, and they put out that rubbish of a performance. It was very disappointing. Jack Whiten's on the move as well. You'd expect with both of those two on the way out, you'd expect the Raiders to be trying to gel and come up with the chance to win the premiership. Well, I'm telling you now, it ain't going to happen. The Raiders are, I think, pretty much gone. Doesn't mean they can't make the top 8, but to me, I can't see them winning more than one game. Yes, I expect them to beat the Bulldogs. They should beat the Bulldogs this week, but after that, they've got the Broncos at home. It's a home game. They have to win it. Otherwise, they're going to go to the Sharkies away and try and save this season to make the top 8. Well, the destiny is clearly in their own hands here, but if they lose to the Bulldogs, I can tell you now, their season's done. They have to beat the Bulldogs, and then they could rely on results and hope they can just make them scrape through. There's a possibility it can happen, very minor possibility, but there's a chance. They're 13 for the Raiders with their bad minus 100 something for and against. There's a chance they could still sneak in, but it's going to be very doubtful. But that'll be relying on the Cowboys having a shocker of a run home. Parramatta, but let's have a look at these teams here. The Cowboys have to lose 2 of these games. I think they'll lose the last game to Penrith, but the 2 big games for them is the Sharks. It's a big game for their season. It might be the clincher whether the Cowboys get in or not. They have to beat the Sharkies and then the Dolphins. So it's going to be an interesting fight on their hands here. So it's going to be big games here. Parramatta taking on the Roosters and Penrith. So now Parramatta, and this is the big thing, the Roosters have really caught back up. They're the same points as Parramatta now, even though Parramatta have a bye to come. But the Roosters are back in the hunt. It might be minority, but they got to keep on winning. So Parramatta, I think they're gone. They're going to lose to the Roosters, in my opinion, without Mitchell Moses. And then they got Penrith. They have to win both. More than likely have to win both. There's a small scenario where they could win the second one and get through. But to me, I think Parramatta are cooked as well. It's going to be an interesting finish to the season because everyone was right. Even myself was thinking Sharks were gone. They have bolted back with a couple of wins in a row. Put themselves right in the frame for finals football. So it's been a bit of the Cowboys and Parramatta, people saying definitely they're going to be in. Well, there's one thing for sure. One of my predictions for the year, Parramatta weren't going to make the top 8. Well, I'm telling you now, I should be right with that one. What about the Knights? What is happening here? Newcastle Knights are on fire. 6 in a row. Now all the talk was the Cowboys, and now the Knights have pushed straight on by. But the Knights are no guarantee, and can they win without Jackson Hastings? That's the answer for you there. Can they win without Jackson Hastings there? Who's going to play that position? It's going to be an interesting one. Does Lachlan Miller get back in the team somehow, maybe play 6? I'm not sure what the go is, where they're going to go there. They need something. They need something big time here. Do they put Phoenix Crossland in the halves and bring someone else in? It's going to be an interesting topic for them to go forward. We'll obviously find out tomorrow. So Jackson Hastings is expected to be out for the rest of the season. So to me, it's at the end of the Knights season as well. It's getting a very intriguing final series. I don't think I've seen normally it's like 1 or 2 teams that can fight for the top 8, but this year we've still got like 11 with 3 rounds to go. It's craziness. Really, really craziness finish here. The Knights still probably have to win too. There's a chance they could only have to win one and make it through because everyone's going to play each other and beat each other. But if they want to guarantee finals football, they need 2 more wins. Is it going to happen for them? Well, let's have a look. They've got the Rabbitohs. It's a big game of the Rabbitohs. This is the top 8, big finish. Even the Rabbitohs, there's no guarantee yet. This is a must-win game for both these teams. Well, pretty much more the Knights than probably the Rabbitohs, to be honest. But this is a big key to the finals puzzle. If the Knights can somehow beat the Rabbitohs, which I'm not convinced they will, but they can. The Rabbitohs aren't being convincing, but the Rabbitohs on their best should beat them. And maybe without Hastings, it's opened the door for the Rabbitohs to get it done. But then if they do lose that game, then they've got to beat the Sharks. They got the Sharks, and then they finish off the Dragons. You'd expect them to beat the Dragons. But if they lose those first 2 games, the pressure stakes are on, and then they got to play the Dragons, and then they find out they are out of the top 8 at this moment and needing to win that game. It becomes a pressure game. So they want to win a game before then to really take the pressure off. It's going to be an interesting finals race, that's for sure. The Broncos, after an absolute 54 shellacking to 10 over Parramatta Eels, are they the real deal in 2023? The answer is you betcha. Now, there's question marks. There's a lot of people saying question marks. When it comes to the grand final, they're not going to be able to have all this time and space. Penrith are going to spend, well, go back to round 1, and Broncos beat the Panthers 17-16. Yes, Broncos beat them. They can be done. It can be done on the biggest stage. And this is the question I ask you at home. Now, there's 2 players at the moment that are killing the NRL. And I think one's getting less talk than the others. But Shaun Johnson, to me, is the best player in the comp right now. I honestly believe that. Shaun Johnson's been the best player all season. He's been absolutely outstanding. But there's one man at the moment in the Broncos side that can win them the premiership, and he used to be at the Warriors. Yes, it's the Queensland fullback, Reece Walsh. Absolutely electric. He is the game changer. And I tell you what, if he was at the Warriors right now, Warriors would be favourites to win the premiership. But without Reece Walsh, that's the question. Nick Allcrox's a good player, don't get me wrong, he's a meter eater, but he doesn't have that class out the back that Reece Walsh has. And that is what Penrith have to be worried about. Dylan Edwards against another meter eater. Yes, second one, but Reece Walsh can absolutely blow the game apart. Him, and you got Kalen Ponga, that's another one. Ryan Pappenhausen, if he comes back from the Storm. These players can blow the game apart. Now, Latrell Mitchell can do it as well. So he's another one that has the potential to do that. But he's more of a big body player like Greg Inglis. So it's interesting how this continues here. If it's going to be the old Dylan Edwards. So I think Penrith are good at systematic play. But it's been proven when the going gets tough, they can get taken out. And that's why I think the Broncos are the team that can blow them apart. And even the Warriors could be the teams to knock Penrith out of the league. I know the Warriors have to go to another level. Don't get me wrong, the Warriors are nowhere near at a level to probably win the comp at this stage. But they still have a very good defensive, which is not a thing you know about the Warriors in the past. But this has been probably their best defensive season ever. Outside, I think, one with Kearney, but they still couldn't do any good because the attack was just as bad. But the Warriors are on the chance to destiny. But the Broncos are really the X-Factor team in this final series. They are the X-Factor. They've got the Ezra Mams. And they've got the Anna Reynolds as well to be the director of the ship. And he's been underrated this year. He's been up there with the best consistent players as well in the team. So it's going to be very interesting. The Storm getting their big win as well against the Raiders. I'm still not convinced they're premiership contenders, but if Pappenhausen comes back and plays brilliant football, then it changes everything. But whether he can get back to 100% and ready for finals football, that'll be time will tell. But I expect he's going to play either the second to last game or more than likely the last game. I would say you want to have 2 games. To me, I would play him next week. I'll put him on the bench at 14, give him 20, 30 minutes so he can get some game time in there. And then the final round, he plays 80 minutes fullback, see where he's at, see if he's ready to rock and roll. They need Pappenhausen back if they want to win the premiership. That is what it is. Remember to leave a comment below subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with all your friends. That's Barry Charles Footy Show for another video. And I'll be back with another video shortly.